Hello, everybody. My name is Joanne. I am a Royal Crown Diamond from Hong Kong. And if you have heard me speak before at the other past online symposium, you may know who I am. If not, then you would have to go back and rewatch all of those online symposium videos. So this is the fourth one that I've done. The first one I did was 4 years ago. Was it 4 or 5 years ago? The first time that Dr. Oliver Winker decided to do this online symposium, and I talked about Chinese medicine, when Chinese medicine crossed over with essential oils. And we talked about the time of the day and how our meridian and our qi actually works according to the time of the day and what essential oils to use for them. And my second online symposium workshop was about meridian and essential oils and how to support different organs and how these different organs interrelate and how we can use by using massage and applying essential oils onto our skin, how we can balance our body and support our different organs so that they can function as that optimal. And last year, my online symposium was on Gary Young, because I wrote a book about him, and it talked mostly about Seed to Seal, about the stories that I've followed Gary around the world. I've been traveling with him for 6 years. I met him back in 2011 when they opened the Singapore office. I am from Hong Kong. Hong Kong is about 4 hours flight from Singapore. And that's when I first met him. And since then, I have traveled with him maybe 4, 5, 6 times a year since until he got sick in 2017 and eventually passed away, unfortunately, May 2018. And I actually wrote a book about all the stories and all the things that I've learned from him. I've been to nearly all of the farms that allow visitors, except the one in Oman. So I'm actually currently now at our Fort Nelson farm up in Canada, up in northern part of Canada. This is our Black Spruce, Northern Lights Black Spruce farm is in Fort Nelson. Fort Nelson is a little town of 1,000 to 2,000 residents. It used to be a town of gas and oil industry and lumber industry, but a lot of that have moved out of this town. So now there are only about 1,000 people who live here. And back when we ran out of Black Spruce in 2013, I don't know if any of you were with the company back then, and we were out of Black Spruce, so we were out of a lot of the different blends. I think, if I remember correctly, 38 blends, including RC, Motivation, Valor, Peace and Calming. And Valor has a lot of Black Spruce in it. And all of this behind me, you see all of these are Black Spruce. We have enough Black Spruce to use for 3 generations. And for every one Black Spruce tree we harvest, we replant 3 of them. So you don't have to worry about sustainability. Young Living is really adamant about making sure that everything is sustainable in this company. And we were out harvesting yesterday, and we were talking to the local people, the workers who work at our farm. All of these people have lived in Fort Nelson nearly all their lives, and they know this Black Spruce trees really well. And I asked them about harvesting the trees. They say, some of these trees are blocking the sunlight, and if we cut them down, we actually allow sunlight for the younger trees. And so they're totally okay with it because we have mountains of it. And so I'm actually here to talk about Seed to Seal. This is going to be the topic of this lecture. Dr. Oliver Winker has kindly allowed me to choose my own topic. Seed to Seal, the quality of a company, is something that I'm very, very passionate about. I've been honored to be awarded the 5x5 Pledge Development Farm Award. Last year at convention, it's the first time they've ever had an award like that. They told me that because I am a leader who has brought in many, many of our members who have participated in harvest. And I come here every year. I go to winter harvest every year. I started with Idaho and St. Maurice, and now I'm here in Fort Nelson. The first time I really worked shoulder to shoulder with Gary was 2014. no, it was 2013 actually, 2013, the winter harvest in Idaho, and our St. Marie's farm and our Highland Flat farm. It changed my life. I can talk about that in another time because today I'm going to talk to you about seed to seal and about this farm. So I'm here. It's beautiful. We hand harvest and we machine harvest, and then we distill the oils and well, we harvest them and then we chip them. So let me show you. I'll bring you to a little bit of distillery tour first before I start with the lecture, so that you all get an idea and get a glimpse of what we actually do here. We are true farmer first company and members first company. We do actually have our own farms, 24 worldwide. I think if I remember the number correctly, I've been to 12 or 14 of them. I lost count already. So I'm here in the distillery. It's now 4 o'clock, and because during the winter festival, I'm here for the winter festival, and the farm only starts operating at night because so that we can coincide with watching the lights on the outside. And somebody's cleaning now. It's nearly 3 o'clock, and they're getting ready for the day. So when we come in here, I'm going to show you. We usually cut the trees down, and then we send them through a chipper. For those of you who lives on the farm and who works with lumber would know how that works. And then we come in here, we unload the chips in a semi through those doors. And actually the semi just fits. Gary measured it so that it actually just fits. The rooftop of this is much higher than the other distillery that you've been. If you've been to Utah at convention, you will see that the distillation farm, the distillery, is actually open door. So over there, all these are exposed. These are the cookers. These are the gigantic monster cookers that Gary designed. Gary designed all of our cookers. And this is half filled with black spruce. They need to be packed properly. I'll talk about it in a little bit during the lecture. I just want to show you what everything is. This is actually empty and how deep it is. It's about, if I remember correctly, this is 10 meters, 10 feet. No, this is not 10 feet. This is what, 10 meters? How deep is this? I forgot. 20 feet. Okay, this is 20 feet deep. Yes, and Gary designed it. It's the largest essential oil cooker in North America. He started off with small cookers like this, if you can compare, if you can see, but it's not enough for our demand. So he started planning and thinking of building these. The first gigantic monster cooker was built in Idaho, Highland Flats, because back then we didn't have a distillery up there. Now we do. And so we have one of the small ones, 2 of the big ones, and 1 test cooker. This is a smaller test cooker. Well, we have 2 even smaller cookers down there. I'm going to show you. Maybe I can bring you down and take a look. So after we filled and stomped on the chips, we would have to put the steam through. I will bring you down so that you can take a look. Isn't this the best place to do a seed to seal lecture with Dr. Ollie's online symposium? All right, so now we've walked down. You can see down there, it's actually where the oil come out. It's very quiet now. That's why they let me come in before they actually start distillation so that I can record this. Normally, this stainless steel is glass. When you go to St. Marie's or Idaho, Highland Flats, you will see that this is glass. This is actually the condenser. It's when the steam comes through the cookers, and then the steam will bring through, let's see how I can, okay, here, the steam will go through and work through all of those plant material and bring them through this hose down. And the steam will carry the essential oils from the plant, and it will go through this condenser. And when it goes through the condenser, it comes down. There are cold water tubes, and so when steam is cold, it reduces temperature, it becomes a liquid, right? And this was originally designed as glass because Gary wanted the visitors to see how the oil and the water comes out. You can actually see the oil come out when the oil is separating from the water. It's called, I forgot what it's called, but anyway, pass over. It's called passing over. So when it's passed over, you can actually see oil and water separating. But now, because they've changed this to stainless steel, because the weather is too harsh here, it's too cold outside, and the steam, this is too hot, so it keeps breaking. And they have replaced it several times, but it's still breaking. So now they have to use stainless steel. So we can't see through that, but I can bring you down. It's awfully quiet here, and you can see how clean it is. Gary was very, very strict about how everything needs to be kept spotless, even after every fill. So everybody has to keep cleaning and sweeping the floor. So this was from yesterday, from last night. So the oil would come down through the condenser, along with the floral water, down this pipe, okay, down this pipe, into what this is called a separator. Let me stand farther away, then you can all see. That's a separator. And so the floral water is below, and it's actually called hydrosol. Floral water is diluted hydrosol. So the hydrosol would be below, and it's heavier than oil, than the essential oil, and the essential oil will float on top, just like here. These have already been extracted. These have been taken out, and these are the oil. Usually it goes up to about here. And you will see that the oil actually comes out of the floral water, the hydrosol, in bubbles, and the bubbles would burst. And then when the time, and every batch, every plant requires a different temperature, pressure, and time in order to extract the best quality. We don't extract the most, we extract the best. And after that, they stop it, and then the oil is taken out of from here, go down, and come out of here, okay? And they all go into stainless steel drums like those, okay? Every oil that we distill, everything that we use in all our distilleries and all our farms are all the oil. The only thing that the oil will touch is glass and stainless steel. Gary was very, very adamant and very strict about that. And everything is turned off now, and this is the boiler room. Usually it's restricted because it's really hot. And now I can come in because it's off. Okay. They always have to keep that door open because it's so hot in here. That's a gigantic boiler. And we're just talking to Kevin LaRose here, who's the distillery manager. Oh, here he is, talking about the man himself. So he was just telling us how this boiler has no chemicals in it. We are not allowed to put chemicals in. However, when we had to register this boiler here in Canada, the person who came to inspect the boiler did not know how to inspect it because they have never heard of anybody who do not use chemicals in their boilers. So what do they use these chemicals for? They use it to make sure that it's for descaling, make sure that there's no heavy chemical deposits in the machine, in the boiler, because of how hot the water is, and to prevent it from rusting. And I remember Gary told me that he actually had to teach the examiner how it can be done without rusting and scaling, right? So what we have to do is we have to stop production every 3 months for about a week or two to disassemble the whole thing and take out all the pipes inside and clean it, make sure there's no scaling, there's no rusting, and every 5 years, everything inside needs to be changed. And so when Gary was setting this farm up, I remember he told us that he can start distilling in October because he's already set everything, but ended up it was deferred because of this boiler issue, and they needed they needed to make sure that the boiler without any chemicals is actually a feasible idea, and we had to keep the boiler running for 3 months without distillation. And I remember Gary was very, very upset about it. We have to keep it running for 3 months and then show them that it's still working very well and it's very clean, and there's no scaling deposit and there's no rusting. And then before they would need to test our boiler every 3 months, now they allow us to have them come in to test it for every 6 months because we've shown them that it works. This distillery has been in operation since 2015. The first distillation was in March 2015. And then, so after, that was the boiler room. And then after the oil is taken out, it will be, well, we'll take a sample for it to test. And all of our farms have a testing lab with a GCMS in there. And this is the decanting room. There's Frank in there. There's Frank in there. Maybe I can go in. So to show all of you, let me tell them what I'm doing. I'm recording the video for the online symposium. Yes, and I'm just going around showing, this is going to be shown to the world. And so this is the perfect day to be in the decanting room because it's nearly 3:40, the perfect time to see the Northern Lights inside your eyes through the oil itself. There's something that's very magical that our decanter Frank here has found out, has discovered. And so these Joanne, by the way. Hi. Hi. Hi, Lisa. Hello. I'm from Hong Kong. Okay, I'm still recording. Okay. Well, I don't know how this is going to work, but I will make it work. So I'm here. Sorry, guys. I'm here with Frank. And these are distributors from the US, right? Alabama, all three of you? Washington, okay. Well, I'm from Hong Kong. Anyway, I was just interrupting them. They were just chatting in here and looking at how these oils are being filtered. Well, Gary called them filtering. We call them decanting. It's the same thing. It's sort of like decanting a bottle of wine. Gary has found out that he's tried out many different ways to filter them. And I'll explain in a moment why you need to filter them. And we found out that unbleached coffee filters work the best. And you know what? We always ask them to keep these coffee filters for us when we're visiting because they are the best facial mask, because they have absorbed all those amazing essential oils and all the nutrients that are in the floral water and the oil. And can you imagine, Mr. Frank here actually filters every batch of black spruce oil. So if you have a bottle of black spruce oil in your home, it has been filtered through these hands. Isn't that amazing? We love him. Yes, we love Frank. He is like the best, loving, most caring person in the whole entire world. And you have to come here and visit him and give him a hug. Well, I'll leave you guys now and go back out there. Thank you guys. Alrighty. Okay, let's go outside, and I'm gonna bring you out and show you where we dispose of the plant material that has been steamed. And I'll bring you into the lab too, okay? So after these plant materials have been steamed, distilled, they will be unloaded from one of these using that crane, it will be pulled up. All these chains will be hooked onto, all these chains, these ones, will be hooked onto that. And these doors here will be open up and it will pull it out and we will dump. I'm gonna go out. It will be dumped right here. And then they will be brought, all these plant material will be brought to the other side of our farm where we have a workshop and a pellet plant. And these chips will be made into little pellets and it will be given to the local people to burn as fuel to warm the houses. And these actually still smell nice. These steamed plant material still smell good. So Gary has found out the best way to distill it in a certain period of time. So a lot of times these plant materials still smell really nice. Look at that amazing view. You guys all have to come here and take a look at this farm because last night we saw the Northern Lights, they were out. We actually believe that there are Northern Lights every night. It's just because we can't see them doesn't mean that they don't exist. And I stayed up until 4 o'clock taking photos of the lights. And then Um, let me see. Oh, let me bring you to the lab too. And this is actually just the first part of this Seek to Seal lecture. I'm going to be talking about my presentation in a moment. But first, I would like to bring you to the lab and meet our lab tech, Wes, who has worked with Gary since Gary started building this distillery. All right, let's see. Mr. Wes is cleaning the floor. I'm doing a recording for the online symposium. This recording is going to go to the world, and this is Wes here. He is our lab tech. He helps test every batch of black spruce oil that is distilled in this farm, in this lab. And we have a GC. Maybe you can talk a little bit about what you talk about when people come through this in the tour. Is it running? So this is the GC. Do you want to talk about it, or I can talk about it? Maybe you can talk about it first. Let's have him talk about it. Okay. All right.
The machine we use to separate the compounds of our oils. Do that and get down into the part of the oil and one of the percentages and purity. Right here, it says the injection itself. It's a small sample of our oil. It injects into a glass instrument where the sample is vaporized and the gas stored is through home. That's called a distillery flow. Two there, 60 meters long. Your sample runs through it, begins to separate, and then through the top here at the end, it runs through a hydrogen oxygen flame, where the heat and the energy is transferred into ionizing the carbon atoms in the sample, and it quantifies how much of that sample there is, and the computer, the software, lets us know how long it took for that compound to run through the column. We end up with a chromatogram, two axes. We have our time scale on the bottom, on our left, the intensity.
I don't want you to screen cap that. That's why I put my hand in front of it.
Yes, our results are proprietary for our process, so it's kind of
yeah. So, well, you can see it for yourself if you come here. So, so I understand that there's a little bit of difference between our column and the column that people usually use on the other essential oil company when they're testing their oil. It's the length of the coil, right?
It depends on the weight of your molecules and also the density. So if you're dealing with very few molecules in a sample and they're very light, use a shorter column to get a faster throughput. Because our oil is quite complex, there are about 40 compounds in black spruce. I need the compound to actually reside in the column longer to get the separation.
Ah, okay. Well then, oh look, we've got hand labeled oils. Testing right here. There's so much secret in this place. All right, thank you, Wes. Thank you. So that's sort of like the end of a tour. I'm going to be talking about my presentation properly in a moment. And I hope you all enjoy a tour of this amazing distillery that Gary built. And you all need to come here and experience it, because just looking through and meeting people online isn't the same as meeting them in person, right? And you know what? Let me bring you down to the back and look at that. Let me see. And I'm going to be talking a little bit more about testing, because our testing, the way that we test our oils in this company is different than the other companies. Let me walk through to the back. It's quite amazing there too. The view is amazing. It's really quiet. Nobody's here. I want to show you something. We were hand harvesting yesterday. I hope that I'll be able to put the hand harvesting video in here so that you can see. And these are the trees that we hand harvested yesterday. We actually went out to the farm to the forest and hand harvested these trees. This one, I had a tree that was so big that had to be cut in two. And so this is actually the testing chipper